Witnesses say Maxim Gelman took out a butcher knife and his anger on a complete stranger trying to kill Joseph Lozito on board a subway. Subway riders had spotted Gelman jumping off one train and onto another early Saturday morning. Just then, two police officers entered the car and came after him. He backed off but then lunged at Lozito.
He's about 2 or 3 feet face to face with me. And he turns around, looks at me, takes out a blade, 8-inch blade, looks at me dead in the eye and says, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die." Physically, you know, I'm getting better. All my stitches are out, my staples are out. So now it's just a matter of the scars healing. I got my usual commute. I get up. Most days I take the 1 train. That day, the 1 train, the track on the 1 was under construction. All trains were expressing the 72nd. So that day, I decided let me go on the platform for the 2 or the 3. That was my choice. It was a bad choice, but so I got. That of course was the first train to come. Was the 3 train. I got on at the first car. I usually get on the first car or the last car because it's the least crowded. This gentleman approaches the door to get into the motorman's cabin. Knocks on the window and says, "Let me in." The male cop says, "Who are you?" He says, "Police." The male cop says, "No, you're not." And without incident, this gentleman turns around and walks away. Walks back up towards the door, stops a few feet shy of the door. He's about 2 or 3 feet face to face with me. And he turns around, looks at me, takes out a blade, 8-inch blade, looks at me dead in the eye and says, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die." I'm not sure where the first lunge landed. I think it might be my eye because I had a black eye a lot worse looking than this right now, and I have the scar here where I had stitches. It's the only injury I couldn't account for, so I think that might have been where he hit me first. I didn't take my eyes off him at all, and I was watching for his arm where the knife was. When I saw him recoil his arm back, I was trying to do a move called a single leg takedown. I ended up grabbing him around the waist, and my right shoulder ended up on his waist. So while that was happening, while we were going down, he took his right arm, and that's when he starts cutting me in the back of the head on this side, trying to cut me across. So now I tackle him, I get him down, and now he's flailing up with the knife in his right hand. At some point during this struggle, the male police officer came out, joined me down on the bottom, and when he felt like we had the situation under control, he said, "Get up, I got him, I got him." So with that, I stand up, and as I stand up, now all I see is blood just pouring out of me, and I can't even describe it. It's like I've never seen it even in horror movies. In general, how much tape do you have in there? How has it influenced me? I mean, it's, first of all, the work ethic of these guys is something to look up to. It's just inspirational. And then when you get to hear these guys' stories like outside the cage or outside the ring, and you realize they're just regular guys and they're decent human beings, it makes you want to root for them more. I think people that give it a chance, I think it's like anything else. It's like trying a new food. If you can look at a new food and say, "Oh, I don't want that," you may try it and it could be the most delicious thing you've ever had. I think if people would actually, the media is going to portray anything the way they want to portray it. And I think the problem with the mainstream media is they just see it as glorified thuggery. And they don't look at it as it's actually guys who are, a lot of them, college educated. They went to college, wrestling scholarships. Chuck Liddell, I think, is a certified accountant. But if you look at Chuck Liddell walking down the street, you're terrified because here's this guy with a mohawk and a Fu Manchu mustache. But if you actually take the time to say hello to him, he's the most soft-spoken guy. Give you the shirt off his back if he has to. So it's easy to call it whatever it's been called, human cockfighting and things like that. But I think if people would just take the time to, rent a DVD. A lot of times now, the UFC especially, they put out these DVDs with a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. The answer to your original question is absolutely. If you take the time to research this, you'd be inspired. Absolutely, 100%.